Now, since we have our first digit prepared and set up, we can start to duplicate it and offset its rotation. The rotation offset should be 30 degrees, since 360 divided by 12, it's going to be 12 hours, it's a 30. And so before I'm duplicating it, I'm just going to change the number. This is going to be 1, and I'm using the Roman numerals. Okay, and then I just double clicked on the layer, and then you can retype the text. Let's duplicate it, and it's gonna be R for rotation. Press R, and we're going to offset the Y rotation. So basically what we are doing, we are rotating it on the Y axis, which stretches from the bottom to the top, and the rotation is around that axis. I'm going to go to Y here, and all we need to do is just basically type in 30. Okay, let's change the digit to 2, which is double I, and move to the next one. So when I'm duplicating it, I'm using a shortcut. It's Command D for duplicating. Okay, so duplicated it, again R for rotation, and very easily, without actually doing any calculation, you can type in here plus 30. So I'm just going to continue to add 30 to whatever number I have in the rotation currently, and press enter. Change it to 3, so double click on the layer, I. This is good. I can continue to do this. I'm going to do it pretty quick, so Command D, R for rotation, plus 30, enter, make it 4. I think a 4 in Roman numeral is I and V. Okay, and then click on the layer, Command D, R, plus 30, enter, change it to 5, continue with duplication, R for rotation, plus 30, enter, double click on the layer, just add I for 6, click on the layer, Command D, R, plus 30, enter. It's going to be 6, 7 now, which is going to be just additional I. 7. Okay, click on the layer, Command D, R, plus 30, enter. Again, adding one more I. Click on the layer, Command D, R, plus 30, enter. I think it's I and X for 9. Click on the layer, Command D, R, plus 30, enter. It's going to be 10. 10, and duplicate, rotation, plus 30, enter. This is going to be 11, so I'm just going to add I, and the last digit, again, rotation, plus 30, enter, and this is going to be 12. I'm going to just enable the camera tool, C as a shortcut, so I can just look around how this all look, and most of the time looks pretty good. The numerals that are long, they kind of mix. That doesn't look too good, so probably we need to do some tweaks here. Maybe overall I'm going to select all. Select all is Command A, and then I don't need to have these selected, so to deselect them just press Command and click on those layers. This is the clock arm, clock face. All I wanted to select is just the text layers. So now I can go to the text panel here, and the font size, just going to lower it a little bit. I'm pressing Command while scrubbing the number, so it goes a little bit slower than if I just scrub. That would be much faster. Okay, so overall I think this is good. Let's orbit around. I still have my camera tool active here. I think all of them look pretty good, with the exception of the very long ones. So maybe those I need to just customize a little bit. So I'm going to now go to my selection tool, just click somewhere out, and then just, can I just select it like this? No, I have to go to the timeline in order to select them. We're talking about 8, 7 and 8. I can maybe instead of the size, to keep the size all the same, I'm just going to play with the letter spacing, decrease a little bit the letter spacing to have more space in between. Maybe also the text size. Okay, that looks pretty good. All the other ones look pretty good. I would say, since we have our text all designed, why don't we actually pre-compose the text? So all we need to do now would be just one layer. So we would have 3 layers in this clock together composition. It would be the clock face, clock arm, and then the numerals. So to pre-compose something from inside of the composition, you need to select the layers that you want to pre-compose. Then go to the menu, the layer menu, and the last option under the layer menu is pre-compose. There's a pretty handy shortcut. Shift Command C. Let's try it out actually. Shift Command C. Yep. It's pre-composing. Let's name it hours. And okay. And now, if we double click, we have them here. They're all in 3D. Something that happens, and this is going to be our next step that we'll have to go through. Make sure that all the 3D is reflected correctly from the precamp into our main precamp. So as you see in this case, we have all of these letters are nicely spread in our 3-dimensional space. But when I go here, this is like a breadcrumbs of what is inside what, so we can go out of the precamp back to our main camp. If I go back to the clock together, we don't see the hours at all. Why don't we see them? Because as you see, this is actually a 2-dimensional layer. When we pre-camped it, it does not by default make it a 3-dimensional layer. We have to enable the dimensional layer. And we cannot see 3-dimensional layers in the custom view. Right now we are in the custom view. The custom view, those orthographic views and the custom views, they only work on 3-dimensional objects. We have to go back to our active camera to see 2-dimensional ones. It looks like it works well, but there's something wrong with it. There is, this particular object should be in front. Well, it's all happening basically because it's not three-dimensional. Let's go back to the to our custom view so we can really see in the perspective what's going on. Let's make this a three-dimensional object. And you see this funny thing is it looks like kind of like 3D if you would look from the front, but actually it's all flat. Why is this happening? Because here is something that we really need to pay attention to. It's because even if we make this a three-dimensional layer, this layer is a two-dimensional representation of the image from the active camera of the pre-comp. I just double click on it, I came inside. You see we are in the custom view here. If I go back to the active camera, that's how this looks. And then I go out, back to our main camp, and this exact representation of three-dimensional space in 2D is now just put as a flat object in 3D space. And that is the problem. It does not carry over the 3D data from the pre-comp. Very simple solution to that. That's where this little button here, which is a collapse transformation, or it's also called continuously rasterized. That's what this little button does. A very handy one if you have, the vector graphics and you want to always keep them sharp. That's one of the use for this button. Another one is basically keeping all the data for 3D and also for compositing modes from the pre-comp, and now they are being reflected in your main comp. So that's what you need to do. You need to press this. Here you go. Now everything's stretched back to its correct dimension, and we even have this bounding box now that represents that 3D object here. What's cool about it is now if I go to the rotation, R for rotation, and I start to rotate this thing, see, all you need to worry about is just rotating this one object. And I'm going to undo, and if I go back to my QuickTime, I actually use this feature, and you see even if the face of the clock is not really moving, and I can see it's not moving because the texture of the face stays pretty much still, but I was moving the letters, I was moving the numerals. So I use this this rotation there, and we'll have to keyframe it to do something similar. Okay, let's move back to our After Effects project here.